So let's start in this way. So we will focus mostly on Selenium Rest Assured framework related questions, right? And then we will see how we can ask a couple of questions related to CI/CD and Git. Okay.
Okay.
Can you tell me the folder structure of your automation framework?
Yeah, the folder structure, since I'm using the Maven project, it's already predefined a folder structure where I have the SRC test and SRC main and SRC test with my pom.xml. I worked on SRC test where I created all the test, a package for tests and also for the pages and also for the utilities and also the global properties files as a separate package. Yeah, and also I have a test resources package as well, where I place my data resources or screenshot file paths in that.
Okay. Can you explain me a little bit on how you manage the test data part?
Yeah, test data. I used data provider from TestNG, the data provider annotation. So I personally worked on extracting data from JSON files using a data provider, and I used the data provider annotation in my test methods, where I gave at the rate data provider equal to the name of the data provider. Yeah, and from the JSON, I also created Pojo classes to for the requests and responses.
Okay. Okay. And when you say you are fetching data from data provider, so data provider is fetching information from JSON file, right?
And file, yes.
Okay. And what kind of JSON you use for your test data management? Is it like the simple JSONs, or you have another form of JSONs also in that?
I used static data for my test data. So I created a JSON for all the input fields and also the expected errors or expected messages. And I used Jackson import to with object mapper to decode the JSON into a Pojos. And then I passed that to the data provider to the tests.
But why we need a Pojo in a data provider if you are using an object mapper?
Object mapper, I extracted the JSON data as a list of classes. I mean, as a list of data, and the data refer to the classes, so I can set and get the data easily. So I use Pojo
But
for
why
that.
do we need to set the data? Because this is test data, right? So I don't
Yeah,
see we need to set it. Or do you guys set it at runtime?
I used the JSON data to pass the input of my fields. Yeah, so that is the reason why I created a Pojo class
Okay.
and
Okay.
indicated each element as a web element as a class element.
Okay. Okay. And how exactly you manage your test suites? How many test suites you have in your automation?
Uh, in my automation, uh, actually, I did not prepare like how many test suites to
Okay, this
answer.
is an important one. Just keep a basic smoke regression like that, right? Smoke suite, regression suite, and maybe one sanity suite. And remember that smoke sanity would be mostly 80-20. So if there is 100 test cases in regression, 20 would maybe in, or 80-20 like that formula, okay? Means 20 test cases maybe in smoke and 80 test cases in your regression, right? So this division would be better. So you should be aware that we create multiple .xml file, right, to manage the test suites. So
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
this one, okay? Okay, cool. Now let's move ahead. So when we talk about Selenium framework, how you folks are managing the drivers, means Chrome drivers or Firefox drivers?
Yeah, I used a global properties file and I loaded the properties before in my resources package and resources package. And after loading the properties, I would send that get property and about the browser information there. So if the browser
So
in the
what about the .exe files? Means are you guys are using .exe, or how you are managing the drivers?
.exe files,
For example, you want to run it in the Chrome driver, then how you will run it?
I'll Okay, I have to have the Chrome browser extensions in my local project.
Okay, which version of Selenium you folks are using?
I'm using which version of Selenium, Siddharth?
Yes.
I'm using Selenium 4.0. Yeah, greater than 4.0.
Do you know about Selenium WebDriver Manager?
Selenium WebDriver Manager? No.
You
I
should.
think, yeah.
Read about this driver manager. Recently, they have done the change. We don't have to manually download the exe files. Okay, you can directly manage it. So that's a very big change in Selenium, and most of the interviewers are interested about this. Okay, so
Okay.
have a look around it. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's move ahead. Let's assume in your Selenium framework, you have some time limits, right? That you know that okay, this is the time we need for our page load. This is the time we need for our navigating from page to page. Then those times are usually fixed, right? Then how you are managing these times? Is it like you are always using explicit wait, or you are saving those fixed times somewhere as a constant? How you are managing this time management?
I am using explicit wait in my framework.
Okay.
Yeah, because
And what's the max time for explicit wait?
Explicit wait, sorry.
What's the maximum time you are giving for your explicit wait?
I'm giving 8 seconds.
And is it like everywhere 8 seconds?
I'm following this generic principle while creating my frameworks.
No. So usually here what happens now, in real time we don't write 8000 everywhere. So we create a constant called as wait in our constant class. That's a part of your framework designing, and that constant we use rather than using 8000 everywhere. You're getting the point, right? You will not use 8000 in every step, right? So you will create a small generic method on wait and then pass that constant and then use that method everywhere. You're getting the point, rather than creating a WebDriver wait everywhere, right? That is not an ideal approach for framework.
Yeah, usually we create explicit wait method, right, for invisibility or visibility, just to extend the class and to use the property everywhere, use the method everywhere in our framework. So I'm aware of that concept, but even for a timestamp, we need to create a constant.
Yes, we need to create a constant
to the method.
Yes, because you cannot keep that constant everywhere, right? Because tomorrow if that 8000 change, you need to go and change everywhere. You're getting the problem, right? Tomorrow, let due to some reason that wait time needs to be increased, then what you will do? You will go and change it multiple places, right? You will end up putting a lot of effort for that change. So move it to a constant. So change that constant whenever you want. Maybe in local execution your time is more, right? Maybe in Jenkins execution your time is less. So how you will manage these things, correct? That's why we try to keep it as a constant.
Okay.
Right? Single management, right? Single place management. Have you ever used property file?
Yes, I use properties file. Yeah.
Okay, good. So can you tell me how we can manage a element which is not identifiable with XPath? Means it's a very dynamic web element. Then what are the approaches we have?
It is really dynamic.
Yes.
We cannot find the element ID at all in the HTML.
For that particular element, it's impossible to find it because it's a dynamic one, and the ID that we have, it's an alphanumeric, which keep on changing.
Okay. The ID keeps on changing?
Yeah.
Okay. I usually use a stable. I usually try to find a parent element which is stable.
Correct.
And then I can use index or nth of our following sibling with a tag name which is definite, even the ID is changing. Or else I can use different attributes like placeholders or labels or some unique value that will help me identify it.
I guess a relation of parent child sibling would be the correct answer, right? Because anyway that it doesn't have any property which can be identifiable, right? So better answer is your parent child. That is the right answer because the element is not identifiable, but its parent is identifiable, right? Or maybe its child is identifiable. So we will try to find a relation around it.
Okay.
How you manage the window handle? Do you know the method about get window handle we have in Selenium?
Yes.
Can you explain a bit on this?
Yeah. Whenever we need to access multiple windows which are currently open in our browser, we use a get window handles method. So it will return us a set of strings of which are unique to each browser.
Correct. And that would be a handle. Got it. Can you tell me how you can handle the keyboard actions in your framework? Keyboard events, basically.
Yeah, for sending the input, we can do the send keys, but for simulating user actions, we use the action class. And we create an object for the action class, and we give the actions.
That makes sense. And do you guys execute in parallel execution? Any parallel or cross-browser support is there in your framework?
Parallel execution, yeah. I implemented parallel execution using TestNG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where exactly in TestNG?
In TestNG XML file, where I mentioned the tests and the class name and run as parallel equal to true with the thread count equal to 5. Yeah, I mentioned that line in the XML, and I use that.
When we set thread count is 5, then what exactly it will do?
It will 5 threads will be taking part in executing that code. So if I have a data set with the 10.
But do you know how it will divide? Let us assume we have 500 test case. How it will divide into 5 thread counts? No worries, just have a look at this answer. Okay, cool. Let's move ahead. So let's talk about the API part a bit. Okay, what kind of APIs you usually automate in your framework? Is it as a REST, SOAP, GraphQL? Which one?
I automated the REST API.
REST API, very good. And what are the common methods that you have automated? API methods?
Are get, post, and put.
Get, post, and put. Yeah, that makes sense. And here definitely you folks are using Pojo, I guess, right, for request body.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
For just username or password, just.
And what kind of authentication you folks are using in your project?
I work with JWT tokens.
JWT tokens. That one is pretty okay. How you usually pass the JWT tokens?
Using the header like authorization bearer plus the token value.
So is it a JWT token or is it a bearer token?
It's a bearer token. I'll read about the difference.
Okay, cool. Makes sense. So do you know what's the difference between path param and query param?
Yeah, query parameters are used to filter out the data, and they usually start with a question mark and value and equal question mark key and then equal to an value.
Correct.
And parameters add additional part to our base URI or endpoint to reach a specific endpoint.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can you give me an example of API chaining in your framework?
Yeah, definitely. For user management endpoint, we usually log in, and after a successful login post request, I get a token, and so I store that token in a variable, and I pass it in the authorization header for my user management endpoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And have you ever done schema validation for your framework?
Yes, I've done schema validation.
Can you give me an example of difference between JSON and schema?
JSON and schema?
Yes.
Okay. Usually schema is like the skeleton of our message or a JSON file or a XML file, which verifies the overall structure of the file. So for XML, we verify using...
Can you give a little bit of more information when we say structure? What do you mean by that?
Okay. Yeah, fields and the data IDs are all... and yeah, I'll elaborate.
Okay, you need to learn this one more. Okay, so you need to mention that data types should be mentioned, right? The important part of structure is data types, right? So maybe you have a field, then what data type that field is?
Yeah, sure.
What are the mandatory one? What are the optional one? Those are the information very crucial for us, right? Because that's how we decide how to navigate it. Okay, can you tell me how you folks are integrating your automation suite with your pipelines?
Yeah, we are using the Maven Surefire plugin.
Okay, cool. And what is the frequency of execution?
The regression is done once every sprint.
Okay.
And yeah, for the smoke is initially performed after the development phase.
Can you tell me a common exception that you have found in your last 10 executions? Common exception.
In the Selenium.
Yes, anything would be fine for me. In anything in your last 10 execution, it would be API, Selenium, whatever, right? But in your last 10 executions, what is the common exception that you have found?
The common exception is tail element exception. I find that a lot in my framework while creating the test cases, actually, not while running them.
But in your
repetitively.
last 10 executions, you have seen stale element the most, then your framework is not developed properly, right?
Yes. For the initial stages, we see this tail element exception a lot. Or else for the repetitive tasks, we see like no such element
Again,
existing.
no such element in the last 10 exceptions, that again directing that your framework is not a good one. Or your application is not a stable one. Which one is correct then out of these two?
Maybe element click intercepted, or using other like in the case of
Okay, you
unexpected.
should come up with better examples. Okay, these are very, means nobody will buy these examples anymore. Okay, come up with some good ones. Okay, you can check. Okay, you can find a lot of things on Google and GPT, but bring something else to the table apart from no such element and stale element, because whoever means those are really not real time examples. Okay, in real time there are a lot more exceptions we see.
Actually, a few examples with that.
Yeah, sure. For example, you are dealing with an array out of bound exceptions. You have created a new one, something you have skipped, right? Which is also very common. Sometimes it happens like your server connection error we get, right? Selenium is, that's a very common one we get, correct? That is a very common one. So if you are dealing with some database, then database connection failure is a very common one,
Okay.
right? Something beyond your basic ones, because this one actually we don't get. Once our framework is stable now, we don't get these things, right?
I actually worked on personal projects and I projected my experience.
I got it means it's no worries. That's why I'm trying to fix the problems. Okay, wherever I feel like okay, these examples are not, they will not buy it. Okay, cool. Can you tell me how exactly you manage the branching strategy of Git?
Branching strategy of Git
means what are the type of branches you have in your project in terms of Git? For example, a main line, hotfix, regression, new feature. Those are the different branches we have, right? Okay, just look into that. Okay, branching strategy of Git. Sometimes they ask this to figure out that are you into a real project or not.
Okay, we have different, usually while working as a QA professional, we have like different branches like you, hotfix, and mention few other.
New feature, hotfix, mainline. Okay.
Okay.
Those are the crucial ones. Hotfix means any immediate fix. New feature is you are working on a new feature for your automation, right? So those are the common ones that we see. Do you know about merge conflicts? Have you ever came across merge conflicts while working with Git?
Yeah, whenever a piece of code is changed between two authors and there is a conflict on which to proceed finally, or saying that all the existing code is modified.
Let's assume you are making some changes on your local file. What is the sequence of command you follow to raise a CR or to push the code into remote? I
start with git add, I add the modified files in the and in the staging area, and after that I do the git commit. Git
commit -m and the message, right? And then
and -m, and finally the git push to the main repository.
So do you use git push or do you use git push origin mainline?
If we want to push the code into the main repository, we use git push origin to the main line, right?
Okay, just cross check this one. Okay, cool. Yeah, so pretty much it's good. And couple of process related question also prepare. Okay, how to create your test plan, right? If you calculate the test ROI or not. In some of my videos I have covered this one. Have a look around it. Okay.
Sure.
Very crucial. Now coming to the Java side, right? Can you tell me some of the implementation of map?
Implementations of map. Yeah, I used hash map to pass the data in a JSON format because the key value pairs match with the hash map style.
There are two more, tree map and linked hash map. Have a look around it. Always remember, string, array, list, map. 4 things are super critical. Okay, they may not ask you a lot of programmings. I'm not sure though the format and all. Okay, but be prepared on string, array, list, and map. Okay,
all the types of linked list and array list.
Yeah, linked list, array list, hash map, tree map, linked hash map, and string and array. Just check how to run a loop in map with entry set, how to run a loop in list, how to reverse a string, how to find duplicate elements. Most common. Apart from that, palindrome number, anagram string, very famous. Okay, this should be more than enough. No need to learn a lot of things at the lab, because whatever you know is fair enough. Okay, just structure your answer properly. However you are giving the examples, just maintain the same pace, and it should be enough.